welcome back to Let's Play Mass Effect. We just wrapped up Asteroid X-57 and I forgot to take a peek at that journal. The humans were killed by the Batarian leader. In return, you left him for the Alliance officials on Terra Nova to deal with. No doubt they'll be pleased to meet the Batarian that almost killed them all. Yeah, I think Balak's not in for a good time. What I don't know is whether this path allows us to ever see him again. Like whether he escapes or whatever. I do believe that if you let him go, that you do see him again. I don't know if this one will afford us that opportunity. It'd be kind of cool if we did. My guess is he wouldn't be thrilled to see us, so it might be interesting. Anyway, let's actually finish up the scan of the system here. And I actually want to finish up the whole cluster while I'm here. I'm not actually planning to go anywhere yet. One thing that's unique here is that this write-up is now changed. Asteroid X-57 has been brought under control. Once repairs are complete, the asteroid will be carefully maneuvered into geosynchronous orbit around Terra Nova. Though the Batarian terrorists have destroyed several months of work, experts predict it can still open for business before the end of 2184. So that's actually within the time span of this game, the trilogy. So I hope we get to learn whether it actually did complete on schedule. Also notice that whereas Asteroid X-57 was right about here when we first arrived, now it's showing back here. So that's a nice little touch too. That wraps up the Asgard system. There's actually one other system here, Utopia. Let's go actually take a look at that. Appear to be 5 planets here. Xanadu's first, and it's cold and there's really nothing here to recommend it. Next is Nirvana. Nirvana has little of commercial scientific interest, though a few geological research stations were constructed in the early 2160s. All have been shut down for years. The Alliance maintains an automated ice cracking station, which has quietly stockpiled a large amount of deuterium fuel for use by the fleet. I don't know why I thought ice cracking just sounded like something like the hotel industry might be interested in, but I guess it's actually used for deuterium mining. It's pretty cold here too. Next is Zion. Yes, I see the pattern here. Zion is a hydrogen-helium gas giant even larger than Jupiter. Despite its deep gravity well and lethal radiation, it supports a small helium-3 mining industry. The reason is simple. As the only gas giant in the Utopia system, it is the only local source of fuel for Eden Prime's power stations and spaceports. Yeah, Eden Prime is here. Zion has 112 satellites, ranging from captured asteroids to the moon of Asphodel, which is large enough to retain a thick atmosphere. Asphodel seems to break the pattern of the names here, although I suppose the names really were just all about, were for the planets, not necessarily for all those moons. And here's Eden Prime, which we haven't actually looked at from the galaxy map before, because it was obviously Captain Anderson that brought us here. This idyllic agrarian world was one of the first human colonies established beyond the Charon mass relay. Eden Prime's biosphere is unusually well suited for importation of Earth-native life. This fertility drew heavy immigration and development by the system's alliance and various corporations. Today, Eden Prime is a model of sustainable, organized development. The population is housed in space-efficient arcologies that tower over thousands of kilometers of green fields and orchards. So the population is 3.7 million. Capital's constant. Temperature is the same as Earth. Gravity nearly is too. It's a little higher pressure and the days are pretty long. But yeah, unfortunately we can't go back and visit that place again. Though obviously, remember the skies had a more smoky, orangey hue to them. Could have been the sunset type sky, I suppose, but that looks really nice. And yes, that is right about there where we landed when we arrived there. And finally, Arcadia. Though several spectacular examples of columnar basalt formation offer scenic beauty, Arcadia's hostile environment has precluded commercial development. Yeah, it's broiling hot here. So yeah, notice of course that there's nothing no place to go, and not even anything to scan here. That's probably because Captain Anderson would have done the scan when we first were brought here. And luckily for us, he probably didn't actually go anywhere besides Eden Prime and then the Citadel. And that's why we were able to scan all the other systems. Alright, so that is that. So let's take a moment to notice something. Yeah, this is where Eden Prime is, right here in the Exodus cluster, and this is where Earth is here in the local cluster. So let me recall what Joker said at the very beginning of this game. That very first cutscene after we created Arch Shepherd. He said the Arcturus Prime relay is in range, which means we were starting from Earth. We were in the local cluster at the very beginning of this game. Then we moved on to Eden Prime, which means we had to move from this relay to this relay, and there's not even any intermediate relays in between. What was it Joker said? After Nihilus gave him a somewhat reasonable compliment, saying 1500, a drift of 1500k is good. Yeah, Joker said that he had just brought us halfway across the galaxy and hit the target the size of a pinhead. We didn't even change spiral arms. Yeah, I'm on to you, Joker. You definitely don't have one on me. Alright. So yeah, we're not actually going anywhere. I just wanted to finish up that cluster. There's one other thing I want to do on ship, though, and that's going to be downstairs. Remember, when we last talked to the crew, I said that I was going to skip somebody because I wanted a fourth point of persuasion available to me when I did that, and now I have it. So now we can wrap up the chat with Kaidan, and there's actually something special that I want to do here.
We haven't had time together since our last chat. A lot was said when we talked.
You seemed decisive then, Lieutenant. Why so hesitant now?
I don't want to distract you too much. The deeper we get into this mess, the bigger it seems. I'm just looking for an ear. The debriefing wasn't the right place to say how ridiculous this is. Seems like every other race in the galaxy is wrapped up in their own problems. They don't want to see what's coming.
So can I guess this will add to your resentment against aliens?
Resentment? Against aliens? I mean, I'm not... What makes you think that?
Yeah, Kaidan has every right to be a little bit miffed by us here, it seems to me. Only in the very first time you played this game do you think that the whole story with Vernus would lead Kaidan to being xenophobe. And he definitely isn't. I mean, once you know him through a full playthrough, he's one of the most paragon people in this game. So, yeah.
Don't tell me you and Vernus hugged on graduation day.
Before I met Vernus, I knew as much as any other civilian. Aliens were weird, superior, and tried to tell us what to do. I mean, it's only been 26 years since first contact. That's not a lot of time to understand them. But it was Vernus who made me see how human aliens are. They're not different or special. They're jerks and saints, just like us. Hell, by the time I got payback, I didn't even want it anymore.
I'm glad to hear the bastard got what he deserved.
He didn't deserve... He hurt Rana. Broke her arm. She reached for a glass of water instead of pulling it biotically. She just wanted a drink without getting a nosebleed, you know? Like an idiot, I stood up. Didn't know what I was gonna do, just something. And Vernus lost it. Beat the crap out of me. Kept shouting how they should have bombed us back to the Stone Age. And that's when the knife came up. A military-issue talon, right in my face. I cut loose. Full biotic kick right in the teeth. Almost as strong as I can manage now. But at 17, that's something.
Like I said, he deserved it.
It killed him, Shepard. Snapped his neck. They probably could have saved him if they got him to an infirmary quick enough. But they didn't. Caused a stir when they shipped him home. Bot training was shut down. Kinetics folded a couple of years later. That's funny. I'm not sure which of us got the worst of what happened.
Was Rana all right?
Rana? Yeah. Yeah, she was fine. We never really, We stopped talking after that.
Tell me what happened.
Rana had a gentle heart. She loved everyone. Vernus terrified her. We all protected her from him, everyone who loved her. But after what I did to him, she was terrified of me too. Anyway, this is, I had a point here. Aliens are individuals. Just because one's an ass doesn't mean they all are. So, yeah, I hated that Turian, but he wasn't a Turian to me. He was Vernus.
So yeah, unlike Garrus, who we've been able to kind of nudge onto a more Paragon route all along here, and I've been choosing not to. This is the one spot where you can nudge Kaidan one way or another. His innate self, of course, is quite Paragon, but and you can embrace his Paragon nature here. But you can also start to nudge him a little bit towards the Renegade path, and that is right here.
You can't deny the Turians are imperialists, and the Asari, the Solarians, they're manipulators.
Shepard, I outgrew the blame game years ago. If the Alliance is missing its chance, it's because of men like Udina, not the rest of the galaxy holding it back.
So as you can see, we're kind of going back and forth here, trying to persuade each other. At any point that you feel like Kaidan has persuaded you, either the Paragon or neutral options will work, and that will end the back and forth. But this continues to nudge him a little bit.
When anyone out here listens to us, the Council starts up with their treaties and heel dragging. We can only rely on ourselves.
We're not doing the galaxy any favors if we try to force our way into a seat at the grown-up table. They aren't malicious, they're just slow to change. My story doesn't get any better if Vernus is a good guy.
And again, we can embrace his Paragon persuasion of us, right here. This is the, well, I really don't have the points to persuade you using intimidate or charm, and therefore I'm going to be just kind of slapping you around in a renegade fashion, and he doesn't take too well to this. I don't know if it closes the romance path with him or not. I know it does end the conversation. But you have two persuasion options here. You have it backwards, requires 4 charm points, and we don't have time to wait, requires 4 intimidate points. That's why I had to wait on Kaidan here. But yeah, let's nudge him a little bit more, even more persuasively into the renegade path.
Saren and the Geth are running wild now. There's no time for slow to change, and you know it. Are you gonna let them pull humanity down with them?
Look, I can't deny they've been reluctant to step up, but with everything we've dumped in their laps, sometimes you just get overwhelmed. You don't know what to do, so you don't do anything. I know I was paralyzed after Jump Zero.
They can't make the hard calls. They're too afraid of what might happen. You had more spine as a kid than they're showing now.
That's a low bar for them to be tripping on. Maybe we should push for a bigger role when we wrap this up. Well, you're damn persuasive, Shepard. You should have Ambassador Udina's job.
And there he goes. He is now thinking about it, at least. And, yeah, we have just renegaded Kaidan. I love that. One thing he doesn't tell us is how it is. I mean, what happened to him after the biotic kick that killed Vernus? There should have been at least a hearing, possible punishment for that. We just don't know, unfortunately. Yeah, maybe I should have Udina's job.
No way you're getting me behind a desk.
I hear that. You're something else, you know that? Glad you'll be here when it's over, Shepard. I'm looking forward to some shore leave.
And although I really am tempted to put in a not-so-subtle sexual reference here, regarding being behind a desk, no. This is something I really wanted to ask Kaidan right after Vermeer, because the timing would have been better, but unfortunately we can't get to this point without having gone through that conversation. And yeah, I really wanted to be able to persuade. What I really am looking for here is the extent to which any of this renegade conversion, I guess you could call it, actually sticks in future games. I would be surprised, actually, but we'll see.
I wanted to see how you're dealing with Ash's death.
Dealing, ma'am. Sorry for anything I said back there. Adrenaline.
I understand. I don't like losing people either.
I've served for years, but never lost a soldier under my command. Not to hostile action, anyway. If you don't mind my asking, how did you deal with the losses on Akuz?
It was my job to get everyone out safe. I failed. I vowed not to let that happen again. Same here. I'll remember her, and I'll do better for her.
Yeah, I guess that's all we can do. Thanks for the advice, ma'am.
And one thing left to do, and that's to ask him about the last mission, which of course means Vermeer.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Input? Hell, I don't know. We're fighting giant machines from outside the galaxy. Should I be afraid of them? Or in awe of them? Anything so old, so intelligent.
Yeah, they've been around a while. So were the Turians. We gave them a boot in the ass.
I think we're gonna need a bigger boot, Commander.
That is one of my favorite chats with Kaidan, of course. Yeah, we learn a lot.
We'll talk later, Kaidan.
I'd like that.
The whole notion that he lost Rana because she saw what he did there, and she was just as afraid of him as she was of Vernus. That had to have really struck home with him. It really made him, rethink a lot of stuff. So, anyway, the fact that he said "I like that" at the end of that means we're still in a relationship with him, but no hugging and kissing for now. Still too much work to do. Alright, so yeah, this is kind of a short one. I just wanted to get some of this house cleaning stuff taken care of. And now we can go on to some more side quests, which we'll do right after this break. I'll pick up the story from right here next time.